the main breadwinner is still Google search, with a reported earnings last quarter of 50.7 billion and a growth rate of about 12%. If we look at YouTube, we can also still see a growth rate of 13% and reported revenue of 8.9 billion last quarter. And then the main driver, which is accelerating in growth right now, is Google Cloud revenue, with reported earnings of $12.2 billion and a compounded annual growth rate of 34%, which is really, really strong. And why this number for Google Cloud revenue is so important is that it's a high margin business, and in the last few years, they actually didn't make that much money on it, but now we can see that the growth rate for the operating income from Google Cloud increased from 900 million in quarter one of 2024 to $2.1 billion in quarter one 2025. So that's obviously huge growth. And what that proves is that Google Cloud is in high demand, but it's also showing serious profitability and it's scaling. So cloud is no longer just a high growth segment, it's also a profit driver for the company, which is what investors love to see. And across the board, the numbers look really, really good. It doesn't really matter what number you look at. It all looks very, very strong, because if we look at, for example, the operating income, we can see a reported operating income of $30.6 billion the last quarter and earnings per share of $2.8, which is really, really high compared to the previous periods. And because Google is sitting on so much cash while also generating a ton of cash, they are now doing a dividend increase and also a buyback program. So that's really management saying, we believe in the stock, we have tons of free cash flow, and we are committed to giving value back to shareholders. It's really just not a one-off thing, as they've been doing buybacks now consistently for a few years, reducing shares outstanding by about 11% over the last decade. So for me, that's really bullish. It also shows confidence from the top, and that's ideally what I want to see as an investor. And this chart illustrates the best for me why I think Google is a great investment right now, because this shows that the valuation is pretty low historically, with a forward PE of 19. Total revenue is increasing and accelerating in growth, and also earnings per share is increasing and accelerating in growth. So those metrics don't really match up right now, and eventually, as time goes on and the market sees that Google is mispriced, stock price will rise again, and then the metrics will be more in balance. So this is a good moment to step in my opinion, and the potential upside is really, really high. So Google has really strong financials, but why do I think that Google is one of the best opportunities to make some money in 2025? It all starts with their game-changing AI strategy, which they also just released in I/O 2025, and the Google CEO Pichai has consistently emphasized that their full-stack AI approach is the way forward. They are not using it as a buzzword like many companies are doing nowadays, but it means they are trying to integrate AI literally in everything they are doing. So now we usually had search, but now they are doing AI search. So when you search something on Google right now, you instantly get an AI overview as well. And let's not forget how strong Google is in search. Google is everywhere. They also have Google Maps. I don't see any of this disappearing soon. So now that they have AI overviews in search, I think as this advances, people won't have brand loyalty. You know, Google has such a strong brand that they do have some brand loyalty. And I think as we move forward and things may get sort of similar in a sense, where ChatGPT is similar to Grok from X and Grok is similar to Gemini from Google, that people are just going to use the model that they are used to, which is in this sense still Google. That's just my personal view on it. Obviously, everybody has their personal opinion, but let's not underestimate what Google still is. They are hitting 1.5 billion users per month with search, which isn't pulling back. It's even accelerating in growth, as we've seen from the revenue. So I think as Google is pushing all of these initiatives further, especially with voice, and now that we also saw Google View release, what Google View is letting users do is generate video with audio on the fly, and it's now available in the Gemini app for Google AI Ultra subscribers in the United States, as well as in Vertex AI. So I saw some footage from this and I think it's really, really impressive. People are making insane amounts of creative stuff with this. And I think this is such a level above what the competition is doing that it's also really bullish for me on the Google stock.
Searching, and then something shifts, and I'm not trying anymore, I'm just doing. And all of the pieces start falling into place.
It all feels pretty clear in my head. I see these like flashes of possibilities.
So this is all AI. In my opinion, is mind-blowing. It's really insane to me that this is possible. But Google is cracking the code, and I think they're moving so fast, even though some might say that Google was a laggard with AI and they got destroyed a little bit by momentum with ChatGPT. And Google is trying and actively executing on showing us how AI is literally changing what's possible in creative and everyday tasks. So it could be professional, it could be casual, it could be something for your business or something that you're doing in your free time. But I think this creates a very powerful loop for Google. YouTube, for example, uses AI to power content discovery and recommendations. And then that content helps train Google's AI models, which just makes them even better. So it's really a flywheel effect, which is something that I mentioned for other stocks that I invested in as well. But I really look out for these types of companies that have this kind of flywheel effect because I think it's really, really powerful. And then we see Google just doubling down on all of this, right? They're powering another $75 billion this year, primarily into Google Cloud and also the AI infrastructure. They're building their own custom TPUs, their own AI chips, which gives them an incredible competitive edge in both performance and cost. And that's just such a massive scale of advantage that smaller AI companies just can't match. Google has so much cash that they can just innovate and accelerate so quickly, and they just outcompete the competitors very, very fast. I think what makes Google Cloud stand out from the competition is their unique strengths, which cannot be copied really, in data analytics with tools like BigQuery, advanced AI services like Vertex AI, and their robust global network. They are helping both huge companies, could be hyperscalers, but also startups, and they help transform using AI, not just store data for them. Companies like major retailers that are trying to streamline their supply chain with Google AI, or maybe a global bank using Vertex AI for fraud detection. Google Cloud is really becoming the backbone that lets Alphabet sell sophisticated AI tools to other companies, and it also scales their own internal AI use. It's really a key piece of the puzzle for their future growth story. I think it's a wonderful business. It's high margin. They're actually executing brilliantly on this. I think the product is also amazing. Think of it like this. If it is a product that you use yourself, which I do, it's obviously something that a lot of other people are also gonna like if you like it really, really a lot. And we cannot forget about YouTube. It's actually the platform that you're using to watch this video. It's still a massive beast. It's growing, it's accelerating. The advertising performance is really, really strong, up 10% again in the first quarter in 2025. They're leveraging AI now for content creation, monetization. It makes it easier for creators and also better for advertisers to use the platform. We're seeing huge growth in YouTube Shorts, Here, a statistic that I saw is that YouTube Shorts are viewed over 70 billion times every single day, and 2 billion people use YouTube Shorts monthly. That's massive, massive reach, which cannot be understated. It's almost on the level of Meta. I think YouTube is similar, at least in my opinion. And that's another thing that I think is misunderstood about Google. They have so many great business segments like YouTube, like the cloud, like search, and all these other different verticals. And each of them, if they would be a company on their own, they would be an amazing company. And right now with Google, you have all of them in one. So in my opinion, Google is super undervalued. Let's look at some of the valuations. So we looked at the financials and also some fundamentals. So let's look at a base case and a bull case for Google for 2026. Let's look at what analysts are projecting for earnings. The consensus EPS or earnings per share estimate for Alphabet in 2026 is around $10.16 per share. For total revenue in 2026, analysts are projecting over $439 billion, which is continued revenue growth of about 10%, which is pretty realistic. If we look at the PE multiple, Alphabet is currently trading at a PE of around 19, but historically speaking, so over the last 5 years, the average PE has been closer to 24, 25. Over the last 10 years, the average PE was closer to 28 and even above that. So given the strong growth and AI leadership, I think Google deserves a re-rating, moving much closer to the historical average or even higher if the market continues to reward AI growth stocks, which Google is one of the main players in that segment right now. So if we run some numbers for our base case for 2026, and we use the data that we just discussed and the numbers that we see right now on our screen, we get a share price of $223 as a base case for Google in 2026. But what if we are super bullish on Google and Google's AI leadership really starts to shine in 2026 and beyond? What if cloud continues to rapidly grow and YouTube is growing even faster, which is still very, very realistic? And then we get the bull case, which is still an EPS of 10.16, a PE ratio which is then increased because of bullishness in the market and overperformance of Google on revenue and performance metrics, which leads us to PE of 28, which is close to historical average. Total revenue stays the same, it's not accelerating, which could also very well be the case. Then we get a share price of $264, which then shows the real potential of what Google can do in the coming years, because we are now just talking about 2026. But if we talk about 2030, for example, this number could be so much higher. To put it in perspective, even with Google now recovering from a tariff dip to about $175, $180 a share, the base case presents an upside of around 25 to 30% from today's levels, while the bull case is almost a 50% upside. So right now, I think Google is heavily undervalued. That's why we are investing, and I'm increasing my position. Now, as we know, with every investment comes risk, and it is no difference here. So the DOJ has come down on Google for alleged monopolization in search and digital advertising. What does this mean? It's about how they control the search market and also the ad tech stack, which regulators claim stifles competition. While specific remedies are still being discussed, we're talking about potential for sales of things like Google Chrome, which is the web browser, or maybe parts of Android. That's all still up in the air, but it's a potential risk for the future. Now, Google's also facing serious competition with, of course, OpenAI, which is rapidly innovating. They also have Microsoft, which is leveraging its massive enterprise reach with things like Azure and also Copilot, which is now being used a lot. And also Meta is making strides in open source AI models. So you have all of these different hyperscalers and huge enterprises trying to make the best AI model out there. And basically, they're all competition right now for Google, which makes it a little bit harder to be the winner in that space.